Hello.
Hello, everybody. How's it going?
Good. How are y'all doing?
Good.
I'm doing fantastic. I got bug eyes though. I've been here since 5:15 this morning, so kind of bug eyed out a little bit. All right, I got my participation screen up here so I can let people in. I believe Dr. Honest will be joining us, and Lisa should be joining us, and Dr. Henna and Dr. Israel will be joining us hopefully shortly after the meeting gets going if they're able to wrap up their appointments. And Dr. Dory might be in transit. I've not heard from her, so we'll see what happens and what pops up here, okay?
Okay.
Can everyone see my screen okay?
Yes.
The agenda?
Yes.
Marvelous. Okay, we'll give everybody just a second here to get on here. We're just wrapping up GA and have one more patient still to leave, so that's why I've got one ear going out that way. Okay, very good. Awesome. Okay. Oh, here we go. Oh, there's Dory. She's going to join us.
Oh, good.
And admit. Here we go. There they come. Coming through. Come on through, Yesenia. Hi, Dory. Can you hear us okay, Dory?
Hey, guys.
Hey, Honest, can you hear us all right?
Can hear you. Thank you.
Awesome. Glad you can hear us. Okay. And Dory, you're in too. You can hear us okay? I think she's still working on the volume. Awesome.
Yeah.
There we go.
This is connecting to audio.
Oh, there it goes. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. Dory, you're there with us?
Yes, I can hear y'all now.
Awesome.
With
Great.
Ethan.
Well,
Yeah.
yep, there's our buddy.
Oh.
Well, hey, first off, congratulations on completing your board exam. That's awesome. That's a feat. That's pretty awesome. So we're excited for you. I think she's trying to talk to us here. There it is. Sorry to,
Thank
There
you.
she
I
is.
appreciate it. I'm happy to be done.
sorry to put you on the spot there. So
No, you're
That's what-
fine. I think I was on mute.
I think it's going through a board exam is kind of a traumatizing experience. I think I remember about 75 of the 120 minutes that I was in pretty vividly. So anyway, there you go. All right. Oh, let me see. One more to admit here. I think this is Lisa joining us, and then we'll probably get rolling and started here. Okay. Oh, there's Lisa. Hi, Lisa. All right, she's on board. So, okay, team, we'll go ahead and get started. I don't expect our meeting to take too long today. Kind of a briefer agenda, but a few items for us to kind of go over and talk through today. I appreciate y'all joining on board. Dr. Israel and Dr. Henner both wrapping up doctor appointments and might be joining us towards the end. So there we go. All right. So you got to see the statistics from this last month of August. Of course, August generally is one half crazy and one half slow, and so that definitely kind of represents itself in our statistics where the month overall seemed a little down, and that's because it was to at least part of the month. So you can see those numbers there. All right. Any questions, concerns, any comments there that maybe manager may want to speak to there?
I was surprised with the number of new patients, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, the first half of the month definitely was busy with new patients, that's for sure. And again, overall, we were down from July in most areas, but our social media and all those marketing things were definitely up, which was a bonus. Trying to build during our slower time. So there we go, team. And probably this next month, we'll see a little bit of the same with having a half slow, half busy. So anyway, just wanted to touch base real quick on a couple of reminders and announcements. It's probably well known amongst everybody now, but me and the doctors have kind of made a decision as far as scheduling with GRMC. Basically, the bottom line is that if we have a case that has 3 or fewer teeth that are going to be seen underneath general anesthesia, we're going to push those cases towards GRMC and being seen there to help defray some of our anesthesia costs that we have. That will include teeth that have basically single supernumerary teeth or extra teeth that have to be taken out. And also sometimes our failed sedations end up that way too. So the doctors all know that that's kind of our target when it comes to diagnosis, because the doctors are kind of integral in that initial step in getting patients moving towards GRMC. All those cases, of course, will be manager overseen. They won't go through our normal scheduling process at the front. And so certainly our doctors will be pushing it to your direction should any of those cases pop up and arise, so that you can make sure to manage them and handle them the right way and work those with Lisa and her team at Pine Street. So any questions there on GRMC and smaller cases? Feeling good?
Good.
Awesome. All right. One other quick note, just because over the course of the last month, we've had a few situations pop up, really from a customer service standpoint. I think the stress of life for mamas is real these days. But just a quick note that from a legal standpoint, anytime we have a customer service issue, it does boil over into the doctor world. Doctors will be and need to be making sure they do a good narrative on their interaction that happened. Make sure that's thorough. Sometimes as doctors, we get busy writing things, so managers want to make sure you get our kind of your seal of approval on some of those notes, and then collaborate if needed to see anything that we might be missing, so we can make sure to add in that information to help make that note, strong and powerful, so to speak. Lisa, do you have anything you would add to that at this point from your standpoint on those kind of clinical notes from the customer service standpoint?
I just, there's going to be 2 different notes that get written when we have a customer service issue that a doctor is involved in. Is that one is the doctor will have their clinical note that really should be written in a way of, if this got read out loud in a court proceeding, that it would seem applicable and factual. So it's a pretty factual account of circumstances that really protect us legally, should anything come from a situation legally.
Gotcha.
On the flip side is the manager should also be writing a note in the patient notes that is a much more of the emotional, what exactly mom said, those kinds of things all happening in the patient note instead of in the clinical note. So there's a difference between how those 2 notes look. The patient note is an internal note. I'm not sure there's a case that we would ever have to turn over our internal notes. But those clinical notes are legally binding. So that's why we want them in both places. We'll also want them written in a different kind of tone of voice in both.
Okay. Thank you, Lisa. That makes sense.
And I would just say anytime that we have a doctor who's following up with a patient, where we have treatment that they're calling a day or 2 after treatment and something didn't go right, we need a clinical note. I think we're pretty good at doing that in the most case, but that's the most common time that we're going to have a customer service issue with a clinical note is going to be that scenario.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. Thank you
So-
much, Lisa.
I think, guys, can you hear me?
We can hear you great.
Perfect, fantastic. So I just want to go because we talked about this and that happens yesterday. So I would just to go and go over what happens, because I think as Dr. L is going a little bit nuts, and lately we should really to put the line is what is needed, where are we gonna go, and like we're gonna be, just so people are on the same page. What happened yesterday? Really completely crazy. So this hasn't, like, I've died.
Honest, I think we're losing you.
You guys,
I'm afraid we're losing you. You're kind of breaking up and going in and out, I'm afraid.
let me just go back to this place. Still bad?
A little better there.
Still better.
Keep going.
Guys, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you there. That's good.
Is it clear now? Great, got internet again. So it's literally what happens. There was a sedation that was needed. There was a crown and pulp on the treatment plan that was done by a different doctor. I came in and you say I explained the entire procedure to the parents. I had the x-ray up. The x-ray shows exactly that was the right treatment. The cavity was reaching the pulp. And of course, this is the right diagnosis. So I explained to mom, we gave the medication. I came out. I always come and check on the kids every few minutes. This is where mom really stand up and said, I don't like you to do the root canals. I want you to do just the crowns. And this is where I put the x-ray again, and I explained to mom, it's really regarding the treat. So it's not what we want to do, it's what's the right treatment for the kids. We're gonna go in, we're gonna clean the cavity. If we get to the pulp, we need to do a pulpotomy. If the pulp is infected, the tooth needs to come out. I told her there is no infection side, but that's usually the procedure. I like to make it sure that's everything clear. And there was nothing. So at that point, nothing else happened. In very simple terms, she stand up and she said, I want to leave. I don't want you to touch the kids. I don't want you to do the treatment. This is where nothing happened. I just left the room. And I explained to Stephanie that this happened. They would like not to do the treatment and proceed. And I left. So this is where Stephanie was aware of what happens. So next, I want to make sure the kiddo is now safe. So I went in after 5 minutes to make sure the vital of the child is good. She is in a good position because she's leaving and she was sedated. So I was telling the parents that at this point, I respect your point of view and where you're coming from. But from a doctor, I want to check on her. I want to make sure that she gets the treatment as soon as possible with a different doctor, a different place, just to make sure she's getting it treated. That's it. That's what happened. There was no screaming. There was no loud talking. You know, guys, the way I talk. I don't, there is no way I was taught, maybe in a firm way, yes, but it was definitely not a loud way. And then at that point, there was a different person inside the room. So grandma was there. I didn't see grandma before. So when I went and talked, the only thing she looked at me and she said, you guys, you need to lower your voice or something like that. And you guys are something very rude. So I was about actually to make her, I was very, very upset. And I was about to make sure she's getting very upset. But I didn't do that. I just left the room. That's it. That's what happened. I said, this is the steps. I left the room and then Stephanie came in. So literally nothing happens. All the steps was correct from a doctor perspective. And then from that side, my notes are correct. Now, what happens with the Google review, I really don't care. Now, of course, I care about Alligator Dental, about you guys. This is a business and I want to make sure we're doing it right. But at this point, what should I say? If I'm going to reply to the Google, I'm going to be very rude because we didn't do anything wrong. We did everything right for the kids, everything right for the parents, but they just didn't want to listen. So at this point, I don't see anything from a dental, from our side was done wrong. They just are troublemakers, and any business should not deal with any troublemakers. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Juanis, for sharing that with us. And I didn't want to make it feel like we're singling you out. I think what happened yesterday was, of course, unfortunate that we had to deal with. And this is one of a few things that have happened over the last couple of months. We've had issues. And I think as I thought about this today, particularly I wanted to touch upon the legal aspect of things, that sometimes there are troublemakers, as you said, and in making sure that we have good documentation is our best way to combat that, and just making sure we have good notes, we have good clinical notes, progress notes, patient notes, really help ensure that from a legal standpoint that we're taken care of, and the doctors are taken care of. I have no doubt that Dr. Juanis handled the situation as he should have. I've looked at the charting myself, and I agree with the treatment plan completely. For whatever reason, it just went south. And so I think from a doctor standpoint, we just need to get those good notes.
One more thing that's really can prevent that is when I did see the plan, the kiddo on the schedule before, and I always look on the plan. The thing is, when Dr. J treatment planned this child, I see it as a general anesthesia. Now, I don't know if the mom doesn't do it, doesn't want it to do it. I don't know why this is, but in my opinion, it should be a GA chart. But if a dentist had a successful sedation, and the treatment plan for the next one will be to complete everything, we should not really mix patients with doctors. They should be scheduled from the beginning as a second sedation with Dr. J.
Well, I think you bring up a
I
highlight.
can speak to that one as far as the scheduling. We've really kind of set up Alligator Dental so that we're setting up appointment times that are most convenient for the parents. As we confirm appointments with parents, we always let them know which doctor they'll be seeing. And in general, our patients like all of our doctors and are not doctor specific. It's a very small percentage that the doctor matters to them. So the appointment time, what time is available is just.
I'm afraid we're losing you again on us.
I understand, but but can you hear me, guys?
You're still breaking up a little bit.
What I'm saying, of course, we're going to keep it everything, but there is a specific situation, especially in sedation. That's in my opinion. And this is specific kiddos. I told Steph he should be staying with Dr. J from the beginning. So if there is a note saying Dr. J, so then the second sedation might still be with Dr. J. Again, it's sometimes parents are difficult. They like I don't care, like, of course, doing other sedation from a different doctor. But again, there is cases, and especially when the doctor said it should stay with the same doctor, we should at least, this is how we avoid problems down the road.
I think, Al, it's probably a good idea to add to the doctor conference is that collaboration that happens, because it really is, the doctor has to be the one that lets the dental assistant know I need a manager, and the manager is the one that is then going to schedule that appointment because it's outside of the realm of everything else. And so this really, it's a doctor to doctor kind of conversation and making sure all the doctors are on the same page about how to handle those specialty circumstances. Because we can always, if a doctor sees a patient and wants to make sure that they see this patient the next time for continuity of care, it just needs to be scheduled with the manager, not the dental assistant take them up to the front. We just can't have that break.
Yep, totally agree.
Well,
and again,
so I told Steph we should stay with it, and it was done a note after Jay for the first sedation. But what I mean, like, this pop-up is for both sedation, not just the first one. That's it.
Well, the great thing is we have a system in place for this, and obviously the system failed in this circumstance in keeping with the same doctor. If that was the intent, if the intent was for Dr. Jonathan to see all of the sedations, then certainly it fell through. And that's one thing that I think we all need to collaborate maybe and figure out ways that we can try and make sure those special cases that do need to be seen by a certain doctor or a certain time or certain circumstance go through our managers, because they're the ones that watch over them and make sure as things move in the schedule, they can be, flagged and watched and monitored. So that's one of the roles our managers play. I'm not sure maybe where that fell off here, but certainly as doctors, if we feel a need for us to see a certain patient or another doctor to stay with a certain patient, that's the mechanism we need to continue to use. But it sounds like we need to find better ways to make sure that takes place, make sure that we stay on track. So I'll definitely bring up at our next doctor conference and see what we can do as doctors to try and, from that standpoint, help communicate better with managers, or how we track those patients better, or whatever it might be. And maybe managers will have some feedback as well for those special circumstances where we need to make sure there's continuity with a certain doctor for each case. Because the truth is, Lisa's right. In the end, most parents will choose convenience over which doctor that they see for the most part. And but that's been something we've been very successful at delivering for the most part as well. Over time, we've had some hiccups, but certainly by and large, we do pretty good at it. So there we go. I'll add that definitely to the doctor conference. Managers, anything you have?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think for us to talk about the Google reviews, I know I said to send that out, that negative review I sent to Stephanie and to Dr. Amas. In the cases where we have a negative Google review, is that we are going to wait a day or 2 days before responding to it. As soon as I respond to it, the person who made the review gets notified. So what I don't want to do is have a response back that actually escalates their feelings. But by the time they get that Google review, they're already over and done with it, and they just delete the notification that they got. It's kind of it's the game of how are they not going to get worked up, and how is it going to look like to everyone else who sees that review that we were proactive in responding. So it's kind of that 2-day mark is kind of the magic behind responding to a negative review. With the negative review is that I send it out to doctors and managers to say, can you give me some ideas of responses that we can have? The responses that we have is going to be based on what we cannot specifically address that patient being in our office and acknowledge they were actually in our office. So instead, we have to pull out, this is what we try to do, and explaining what we try, what we strive for, what we try to do, and kind of flip it that way a little bit. And we're really writing that Google review for anyone else who sees the negative review, so that they feel like that, one, we care, and that two, we're just not human, but we hoped that a circumstance like this wouldn't happen. So.
Yeah, but the point is, in my opinion, if any review and any response need to happen, this need to reflect the truth. And the truth is that they were not right. So that's where I'm coming from, Lisa. Now I'm coming from a point we cannot reassure their mistakes and make sure we keep playing this game of reviews. Now, I do understand from a business point of view, but the last thing I want is to reply to the mom and give her any kind of sliver of a chance that she think she was even right. She was not right. Everything was professional. Everything was done professional. We did the right thing. We had 2-3 sedation in the morning. Sorry, one before, one after. We can call those parents and show them and ask them how they went. They went smiling and really thanking us. So even if we had a bad situation before, we're still taking care of the kids after the same way. We're not affected by emotion, but we can't, I'm gonna leave it to you, Lisa, whatever you want, but for me to write any kind of review that I don't agree with, well, definitely, I can't do that. So how you would like to respond, I'm okay wherever you want to go. But the last thing I want to say that we acknowledge any kind of mistakes because we didn't. And I think we have the right to stand the right and the truth. That was, we can defend that. That's,
and I
that's
think,
my 2 cents.
But what you said about something that's helpful that you said is that you said we have lots of sedations that go very well. And so that is something that we can be put in our review. We have lots of patients who are very satisfied with our sedation practices. It's one of those things I just
that's exactly how I want to frame it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's
tell
everything
it
about
the
it's
truth.
just like that.
Tell it what's. Yes, so the mom came in, it was planned exactly, and the other doctor was really trying to treatment and where the treatment could go, because any treatment could go the right or wrong side, and explain all possibility. And the mom refused to listen, and they just want to leave. And we can explain that even though this situation happens, we see a lot of sedation. At the same time, we have patients who we can now confirm and assess that they got the best treatment possible. So yes, that's a valid point.
Yeah, that's it. And those are the kinds of things that as I send out that review, it's just to brainstorm and be able to come up with those things to add. So that's super helpful, because that's a great way to spin it and reply.
Okay.
Well, thank you, everybody. I know that it's been an emotional kind of thing that happened, and it is really too bad that, we spend so much time doing so much good, helping so many families, making so many positive things that something like this kind of tends to sour things momentarily. The good news is that as of today or tomorrow, there will be some other crisis that will in this person's life that they'll jump onto something else most likely, and we move on and we do the best we can and keep doing what we know is right. So we'll excited for any feedback we can get to do a good report back on or a good response, I guess, to the customer service review and to that Google review. And then from our standpoint, we will we'll proceed with the legal side of things and the proper way of dismissing this family from the practice, since it sounds like that's probably not going to be a good thing for us any further to continue that relationship. So,
Al,
I was just
going to add is that I think times like this, where especially that Google review that's super harsh, actually getting onto our Google reviews and reading all the positive things that parents say about us, I think for me, really helps. Kind of remind us is that all of those positive reviews, we don't push anything out to parents asking them for reviews. That is just straight out. People left our office and just wanted to share it with someone they were so excited about. So I think looking at those reviews of really this person really had a good experience. And when you look at all of the stars that we have underneath that, it's just an important thing to remember, because I was right. It's 1 out of 2,500 interactions that we have is negative, which is fantastic. So.
Yep. Very good. All right. Well, excellent. We'll continue to provide good documentation when these things kind of pop up, unfortunately, just to make sure we're in good place and we cover ourselves from these kind of people who are pretty wacky. So, all right, we'll move on then. We're going to jump for a few minutes into clinical team reviews. And I'd like the opportunity for those who are with us today to just share real briefly someone you feel like that's being a builder for the team, and then also someone you feel like that might be draining our energy at the time, so we can have a good conversation and prepare some of our training and things moving forward. So let's go and get started. I'll kind of at this point, maybe I'll put, let's see, I got to get my video feed up here. So Robin, do you mind going first and kind of sharing, a builder and a drainer?
I actually have 2 builders. Can you hear me? I just want to make sure.
You're great.
Okay. Destiny and Excel. They're great. They great patient interaction, help with anything from media, always smile, sunshine, willing to do kind of whatever's needed. And I think they're great.
Awesome.
And then my drainer has been Casey, just missing work. She fell and bruised her ribs yesterday, and it just kind of seems like her personal life is just interfering a lot with her work life.
Agreed. We've had some chats. Okay. Thank you very much, Robin. Anything from a system standpoint or that's a training standpoint you feel like that really would help in your group right now?
I think more of the explaining same days rule and kind of what they're doing, and what their kind of overall job is with things. Because I know we talked about if there's 3 or 4 people in their pod and they don't have a patient, that patient's not in their column, but they're going, well, they're not in my column. Yes, but it's still your pod, helping. You don't have anything, just kind of explaining kind of that same day rule.
The kind of how to support your team better,
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I
Makes
still
sense.
have some of that team blue, team green going on, and
Gotcha.
even though I've tried to put a stop to it.
Makes sense. Okay. Well, thanks, Rob. Appreciate it. Stephanie, how about you?
I would say a builder will probably be Megan. She's really stepped it up since she's gotten here. I know she's only orange or slightly orange and blue trained, but she's always willing to help, with it, whether it's treatment or sealants, or if she needs to hop in and do intraoral for someone real quick, she'll hop in and do it for us. And I probably have to say, not necessarily a drainer, but Alexis. I mean, she's just new. She's just getting into everything. She just learned sealants yesterday. So it's just kind of picking up her slack when someone else calls sealants here that we're having to cover for her.
Makes sense. She's on the track, just needs to keep moving, right?
Yes.
Good. Hey, Sharana, tell us about your team.
I would say Monica is a builder. She has a lot going on in her personal life, and not to put her business out, but you'll probably be surprised. But she's remaining positive. She finally got her nitrous certification, so she was so excited about that, and she's nervous but ready to start her green training. So I'll say Monica for builder. For drainer, I'll say Soul, just because her personal issues are, not helping. She's called out a few times. She's been late a few times, and she just kind of is not motivated with her RDA. I've asked her about it, so yeah, we're working on that.
Gotcha. Thanks for sharing there. For either one of you, is there any sort of systems training you feel like is deficient right now that you could also use some help in outside of the team concept that Robin mentioned?
No, I just think like just repetition. I think they get so comfortable to the point to where they just forget, like, they forget like the easy stuff. So it's just them kind of being laxed, and they just need to pay more attention.
Okay, fair enough. How about you, Stephanie?
Yeah, I agree with Sharonda. Probably more repetition for everything. Like, we just rolled out the new checklist and stuff, so they're just still getting used to that and just knowing what's on it. So I think they were just used to knowing what was on it and doing it and then signing off on it. So now there's a couple different changes that they're getting used to.
Gotcha. Some pods. Okay. Excellent. Dory, I know you've been gone for a couple days, but tell us your thoughts. Anyone that kind of stands out to you from the builder and a drainer standpoint?
Yeah, so for builder, for me is Esme. I feel like she always has positive energy. She's always like wanting to learn and to help. She jumps in wherever she's needed. She's a really great addition. And I know, so I'm excited to see her continue with that. One of the drainers for me is Carly. She, is kind of at the hub because she's been Dash for a long time since she doesn't have the RDA and everything. So she's kind of right at the hub, and she likes to just talk a little bit of drama, a little bit of negativity, and it's like she's the hub, so everyone's going to her, so everyone gets a dash of that all throughout the day. Which can be draining. It's fun to hear that, like, just smile, go on today. So that's for me. And then I agree with Robin with Casey. There was one specific day I had this month where it was like I had called 2 same days back to back or something. Casey was the same day person, but someone else had seen second same day, and then that other person's like had other people in their column that same time, and so I think I had told her, like, okay, why don't you see those patients since she's doing your same day? And she's like, they're not in my column. That just like threw me back. I'm like, okay, but like, girl just did your job for you, so you can help her out and do that too. So I didn't like that. And then I noticed there was another day that I was with her where she spent a significant amount of time like in between patients. I'm like, when's the last time she's seen a patient? I asked one of the other girls, and they were like, it was this patient up here, and it'd been like an hour and a half or something had gone by. And I'm like, well, why isn't we're like falling behind? Like, where is she? So there was 2 instances that just I didn't like. And she has her ups and downs, and I know that that's not when she's up, that's not how she is. But like Robin said, maybe some personal things have been interrupting that a little bit.
Thanks for your feedback. I can echo what you're saying. That's for sure. Honest, how about your team? Tell us about your group.
Well, I will give a shout out to Lily. She's been stepping up lately too, especially with her new role there. And you feel like she's trying to really be a leader. So that's good. She has her negative, of course, sometimes, but in general, I see big improvement lately. And for me, as I said last time, Abby is still the one that I feel it's not that bad, she's not engaged. So if people don't go the extra mile and they are just there to be told what to do, that's what I call energy latching. So I don't want to tell somebody what to do. I want them to figure out on their own what to do. And she's not that personality. That's it. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you. Either Dory or Honest, is there anything from a system standpoint that you guys would like to see trained or you feel could be helpful for the teams in any way?
I think, doctor, we should, like, now the new system is now in place for a few weeks, and especially with everybody and their power. Let's give it some time, because I think now one of the more things I keep hearing is like we're changing things and we're adopting, and like I think we should like try to settle down, try to put, okay, this is the system we want, even if they don't like, let's give it 2 months, let's follow up, and then try to just do minor changes, because I think that's the point. It's really those big changes, they get just confused.
They do. It's a lot to take in. I agree. I think some settling wouldn't be a bad idea. How about you, Dory? Anything that comes to mind?
I kind of agree with Robin, like for the same day specific thing of just reiterating that of their goal, that goal is to help everyone else. As part of their team, they're kind of like the glue that sticks everything together. I don't think that's been really reiterated as part of their role there. They just feel like that's
Gotcha.
there in the same day column, and that's it. So kind of reiterating that a little bit more.
And a sense of how teamwork works now, so to speak. Yeah. Okay. Lisa, how about would you tell us something about some of your side of things on the other world here?
I was just I was thinking about dental assistants, because I get to hear a lot of the negatives and a little bit of the positives. And so I just think, just as a builders, I thought of was Giselle. Her name doesn't come often very often in my world, but when it does, it's always something really positive. I'm trying to think what it was this week, but someone at Pine Street said something like, the one that has the purple hair. And they're looking through the things. And
The problem is that we can't say it every month, but that's the truth. We're trying to give it some other chance. There is no one, and that's what I mean by extra mile. Like, she is on top of it. Like, we had a GA like 2 times ago when she was the only assistant in GA. Believe me, she ran it like a pro. That was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I think, anyway, she just seems very stable and just kind of a stabilizing force who shows up and does what she's supposed to do and has a happy personality. And as my trainer, I would just, Casey comes up on my radar all the time. The number of emails that I have that have her name in it are pretty intense. So most often email there. And DA training is that I just think being able to kind of better define downtime with our dental assistants is that really kind of like that waiting for a patient, what's happening while they're waiting for a patient so that they're ready when that patient shows up, so we don't get behind schedule when the patient's late. But the pod checklist, not taking the whole week, but getting wrapped up quickly so that the clinic, the second half of the week, can be more of a laid back atmosphere. Because there's just such a focus on Monday and Tuesday. So that's what I would say there.
Thank you, Lisa.
So I would say as far as the Pine Street team is actually Gabby and Elisa, with them taking on and being trained as Dash, full Dash people in the Seguin office. It has forced them to their Pine Street day. They used to have 2, and they're doing everything in 1 day. And they come in and they're happy and they're bopping through it and there's no complaints for them. And they're just have this positive energy and they say such great things about the clinic and just bring a lot of positivity. My drainers would actually be my last 2 hires who are still, no one even knows them, Christina and Roxana. We've kept them at Pine Street. Their phone team training has not progressed as fast as hoped for so that they could jump into that Dash floater role. So we're still running the Dash floaters with 2 instead of the 3 that we had hoped for. So neither one, I think both of them are going to make it. But it's just taking longer.
You bet. Well, thank you for taking care of those mysterious people that make the magic happen, Lisa, behind the scenes. So, okay, everybody, that's some good feedback. Hopefully this was kind of got some juices kind of flowing. Certainly I think about training topics and individual people and how to help build them on a regular basis with, the goals of the Andy team and such. But we have our TADDY meeting coming up in just over a month. And so a couple things, I know there's been a little talk and discussion about different things we could be doing at that meeting. And so I'd like you to kind of take the next week or two to help finalize those thoughts. I'm going to plan to have all of the doctors, again, continue to contribute, provide a little mini breakout session at the next TADDY meeting on October 27th, and then have our managers also do a combined one. Well, they'll each have a little mini session. So doctors will plan for about 15 minutes apiece, and each manager about 5 minutes apiece. And what I'd like to plan for is for each of you to send to me, probably by, let's say 2 weeks from today. So that'd be like the second weekend of February, or not February, October. What your topic, the name of your topic is going to be. All right. And then 2 weeks after that, what I'd like to do, some feedback we got after our last TADDY meeting, is for everybody the chance to see everyone else's training session. So what we'll have everyone do is video themselves doing their little training session, and then we'll have the chance to watch those in advance to our meeting, with some feedback or some encouragement, whatever it is. So as our follow-up to the meeting, I'd like everyone to be considering what those topics are and to be thinking about how you want to do that, so you can send your video out so we all get a chance to see each other, okay? If you're struggling for topics, feel free to reach out to me. I've been keeping a list for a while. Things have been kind of popping up, and certainly things that I think would be really helpful. So if you're kind of struggling there, let me know, and I can throw some things at you that way too. I'm guessing Lisa might have some things too from her side of things that she hears from all the feedback and reports that she gets to review and audit on a daily basis. So Lisa, would you add anything for the TADDY preparation on your side of things?
Just if managers need any help with food setup, that kind of stuff they're doing, just to let us know.
Yeah, we'll plan to finalize the next checkpoint meeting, the last details, and certainly have some emails back and forth if needed, because our next meeting that we have will be really just about a week before we have that TADDY meeting. So, all right, any questions there on the TADDY meeting from anyone? Nope. Feeling good? All right. I want to take a brief minute to just talk about a quick policy review with managers and doctors, since we're all together here. Of course, every day our doctors do follow-up with the treatments that they saw, and the follow-up texts that come via the staff, then to the managers, and to us. I want to make sure that communication was going well. That was going well from the manager standpoint, and that was going well from the doctor standpoint. I know these are really critical and important. One, they create a lot of good feelings, and as far as follow-up is concerned, but also help head off some of the, our patients who do have maybe some post-operative issues or problems. So managers, from your standpoint, is there anything that's a challenge right now? Is that system going okay for all of you?
Yeah, pretty well. I feel like I just have to remember to send it to that second doctor. I feel like that was my struggle.
Sure. What, 2 instead of 1 now, right?
Yes.
Good. Robin and Sharonda, you're both feeling good?
Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't have any sending them.
And Dorian and Honest, is that working for you as they come in and being able to reach out to people post-op for their treatments?
Yeah, that's working pretty good for me. I sometimes will end up doing it. Sometimes end up doing it on the day after during lunch.
Yep.
Especially if I notice, like, sometimes it's just like random things, like I try to text the number and it's invalid, and so I'll just go back and double check numbers or do other numbers that I can see on the computer. But I mean, that's a pretty easy fix. So I'm a text message.
Awesome.
Especially with GA, I'm using a little bit of a different method where I'm giving my card, my business card with my number. So I feel like the parents should have the numbers, because one call, like sometimes they call back. Like I had a lot of patients where they send a message 2 days after on Sunday. Mm-hmm. So I think for GA, providing the doctor numbers after the treatment gives a little bit the parents a little bit more well, I'm relaxed, I have contact, I can get to him. Hello?
I totally agree with you, and I think those parents having that contact number is so important, and it's so much easier if they can kind of reach out to us, and it doesn't take any of our time to reply back if there's a concern or a worry. I really enjoy, I think, especially with the GA, sending those confirmations the night before have been very helpful to me. So as I see them contact the parents, they already have my number in advance to the GA day. And that was actually the second thing on my list, actually, was the night before GA confirmations, sending that little pre-GA note to the family and seeing how things are going for tomorrow, make sure there's any questions. And then they have my number for the next day too. So as far as the GA confirmations, is that going okay for y'all doctors?
I've been doing this in and out. So sometimes, like most of the time, I send a message. Sometimes I forget by being with all confirmed. So I think this one thing that I usually really sleep on, but it's been a good show up rate until the last 2 times in Seguin, where we have in San Marcos, when we have like a few falling off, do insurance, do other purposes. So I think we're gonna start concentrating, and from my point of view, again, on it, because I feel, well, it's starting to slack a little bit, the parents. So that's my 2 cents.
Fair enough.
I'm not the best about the Thursday texting. Yeah, it's something I definitely need to work on for the GA. I did like Honest's idea though. Like if I forget to do Thursday and they don't already have my number, to just go ahead and like write that on the post-op sheet. Just so they have it, you know, if they have a problem before I get to the text, because usually I'll send it later that night. But if they wanted it maybe at, you know, it was the first case in the morning and they wanted to contact me at noon and I hadn't sent anything yet, I think having that is a good idea. So that might be something I start doing. One, reminding to do my Thursday, and then if I don't, I'm gonna get on the post-op.
Let me ask this, just be honestly, is there some way, is the format of that Thursday confirmation, is it right now, you know, Tabitha obviously sends out the email. Is there a better way that could come, or an easier way to remember, so you have that opportunity?
I think for me, it's just like I'm doing the text from the treatment already, and then I'm usually do those kind of like as I'm going home, and then I do my time with my kids, and then I usually don't see my phone again until probably 8:30 or 9, and then at that point I'm like, well, these people are waking up at 5 in the morning. Do I really want to text them right now at 9? I don't know, and that's kind of where I fall usually for Thursday.
Fair enough. I know last night I sent mine probably about that time, 9 o'clock. And in fact, in my text, I send an apology. I'm sorry for texting so late, but maybe what I can do is I can send both of y'all at least what I send out to the families again, just so you can kind of see what I'm doing. And I'm not sure my show up rate's any better than anybody else's, but good to collaborate and at least share on the good positive things that we have all going, I guess. So.
Al, would it be helpful if Tabitha sent the managers a text message at 8 o'clock at night, 8:30, 9 o'clock at night as a reminder?
Look at what I'm thinking.
It just, as part of the communication we have with the parents, we tell them the doctor's going to be contacting them the night before and remind them.
Is there, I know one of the challenges I have with mine is converting it over from email into text to the parents as a challenge. It adds some extra time, and I typo sometimes and things. I'm not sure if Tabitha has a way to send that message via text instead.
Yeah, because she has access to Weave. The only reason we were sending it via email because doctors wanted the chart notes information. But that was before we had Demicon, and the doctors can access chart notes from home.
Okay. Well, maybe it makes sense then to maybe kind of shift towards more of a text format, and that makes it a lot easier to send out. Just like the post-op text, this might make it a lot easier to send out the GA confirmation text. So
what information do you want on the text
message?
So
maybe what I'll do at the doctor conference is I'll ask the doctors kind of what they like and what they have, and I'll get back to you on that. Does that sound okay?
Well, it's actually it's the 2 doctors, it's the 3 of you.
Yeah, I was gonna say I actually really like that. I really like the email, like seeing all the charts in one place, because it's really challenging in Demicon, like to go into the chart, open up the thing, see the treatment plan. So I do like having like the charts really easy to just like, okay, this is what I'm doing that day. But I also like agree with you for the email and the texting. Like, I don't know, maybe it's like an email just of like the treatment plans with the name, and then like another text with their numbers or something. I don't know what would be, but I do like the visual chart for sure in the email.
Okay.
So we do an email plus a text message. That makes sense to me. We can have Tabitha keep what she already has in her email. But send
Yeah.
a text message, maybe with just the first name
Yeah.
and phone number.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that would be fine. That way you can just then like click on the phone number and then send the
Right.
text easily that way.
That would be easier. Okay.
As far as the treatment text messages, do we need to set up a system where the doctors are letting the managers know that they're complete? So that the managers can give the reminder so we have a safety net that's there. So it's a lot of,
I think as time's gone on for me, I would say probably 60 or 70% of the time I send mine the next morning. I feel like I get a lot better actually response rate from parents when I actually reach out the next day instead of the night of. And so that the timing of it's a little bit tricky from that standpoint because I'm not sure when the managers would reply back or respond back in the most timely manner. And sometimes, and I have parents who reach back out to me like 2 days after I've texted them and say, "Hey, I forgot to let you know. Yeah, things are great." So there's that kind of side of it too. I have a good answer for that, I guess.
maybe that's a doctor conference thing, because that is all of our doctors are all doing those treatment text messages. But redoing that policy so it's not the night before, but coming up with it gets done before lunch the next day or whatever that is.
Okay. I
Because I think Sharonda and I actually emailed back and forth today about someone who wanted a second day school note. And I just mentioned, like, if we have someone who came in for a nitrous appointment that isn't going to school the next day, we got to dive in and figure out what the complications were. And so it makes sense is after school time has started, if the kid's still at home, that's a good indication that
Something
we just need
might
to
be
make
up.
sure that everything's okay.
Sure, I can see that. Okay. Well, thanks for the feedback. We'll have a few discussion items then for the doctor conference and give you some feedback that way. Okay.
Dr. Al, will you let Dr. Honest back in? His
Oh,
phone overheated.
we'll see if
It
he's.
is the end of September. Like, phones
I
should
know.
not
Like,
be
what's up with that? It
overheating
should be.
outside.
There you go. Sorry, honestly, you're back in. All right. Last thing I really have is just a quick recap on some practice growth items. Just want to let everybody know that our next scheduled, at least, doctor interview is with Dr. Sarah Park, who's coming in December, coming to see the practice and is interested in potentially the future with us. So I'll keep you updated on that as it comes along. Also, with our Gonzalez property, we are basically still in some engineering and design phase right now on some structural issues that we're dealing with there, but that slowly seems to be creeping along week to week, but progress is being made that way too. Of course, this last month or two, we've had some expansion of our schedules, particularly in San Marcos. And of course, with Dr. Henna joining on board. And so what that's done is create extra doctor time. So we've all felt the schedule kind of open up, have some more space in various different ways. And particularly the last couple of weeks, Sharonda and Stephanie have both really expanded their marketing plans significantly to hopefully bring in new patients over the next few months to fill in those gaps and spaces, particularly as we head towards January. We've got this little open time while we have Dr. Henna not on maternity leave, but she soon will be, and we'll be back to being a little tighter for a while, but really helping build ahead of steam for the start of next year. So those marketing plans are expanded, and I encourage doctors to talk with their primary, manager and see what those marketing plans are. They've put a lot of work and energy and effort into them. Of course, are always open to ideas as they're bringing on new activities, more marketing angles, whatever it is. So there'll definitely be plenty of opportunities next couple of months for marketing opportunities in the offices to participate in or help with or give feedback on or whatever it might be. So, Sharonda and Stephanie, anything you want to share about your marketing plans or in particular that you could use some help with or that you could use some vision on in a quick summary?
I mean, I'm open to any ideas that anybody has. I'm willing to try anything
Well,
one time.
Yeah, same here. Like if there's anything, I'm willing to give it a chance and try it out, so any ideas.
Awesome. we can definitely start helping you there. I know both of you have pretty full marketing sheets that you're trying to roll out and trying to implement and trying to schedule and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes for both of y'all, and I
Today-
encourage anyone to help out there. Yes, Anas, you want to say something?
Today I was invited to the school of my daughter to speak about like teeth and dentistry, and we'll see how we can do a quick marketing there too. So
Oh, there we
the
go.
the teacher sent me an email, so we'll update you on that.
Oh.
School presentations is something we're good at. That's awesome. Thank
I'm
you
just
to
gonna
Chloe's
throw
teacher.
this out there because I have holidays on my mind, but it would be pretty cool if Santa Claus came to Alligator Dental. I feel like Santa Claus always brings a lot of people, even if they're like in random places. And so that would be something kind of cool. Even like Andy dressing up like Santa or something like that would be kind of fun.
That would be fun.
I know that's a couple months away, but just throwing it out there.
We have a Santa suit. Last time I checked, right, Lisa?
We do. We do have a Santa suit.
It just might be finding Santa, right? So very fun.
Oh, I would just I would say the demographics of the areas that we are in, there is plenty of kids in those areas in order for us to find the growth. And we're not taking patients from other dental offices. We're really taking patients who aren't currently going to the dentist. And it used to be that you could put up a billboard or you could do a TV ad or a radio ad, or there were other ways to let people know and remind them. And I think when we previously kind of did growth is that we could do Facebook ads. Instagram ads just don't work as well, but our main demographic is actually on TikTok where there's no ads. So we're kind of in this weird time period of really getting as many kind of ideas as we can about how do we reach people to remind them of, hey, take care of your kids' teeth. So that really is the managers kind of sort through what there is. It really is figuring that out. Is that how do we let people know, like, hey, remember, you got to go to the dentist. So it's not about taking them from somewhere else. It's getting them to not be at home.
Right. So true. To that effect, our last thing is just our managers to share their booking time frame. Just want to make sure we have a good sense of that from a treatment and from a new patient and from just a hygiene standpoint. So Stephanie, do you want to go first? You want to tell us where you're at with your booking times at this point?
Yeah, nitrous, we either can do same week or the next week, and same thing with sedations. We are 1 week out right now.
That's great. That's awesome. And I know you have open hygiene and new patients.
Yes.
Very good.
Always.
How about you, Robin?
I have sedation as soon as October 3rd and nitrous the 10th, and I have reached out to a couple doctors about picking up half treatment days in October.
Okay, so you're a little over and maybe norm, but not too far, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Good, good. And right now, from a hygiene standpoint, new patient, are you doing okay?
Yeah, I just need lots of babies. Like
More
my
babies.
schedule is booked, like continued care. It's the baby. Like there's one day that I looked at in like 3 weeks that I have 5 babies on the schedule.
Okay, so some baby time. Gotcha.
I do think though, as we change that new system, doing the high-low, we're gonna see that decrease in babies on the schedule. Because we're not doing every 3 months for everyone anymore. I did, if you didn't mind, I don't know if this is the appropriate place to do it. I did want to just talk on that a little bit.
Sure.
With kind of the process of that. I do like how we're doing high-low and we're kind of making a distinction between people and actually kind of giving them their appropriate caries risk. But I have not liked with the new system, the assistant kind of posting it before I look in the mouth or before I talk to the parent. Because there are times where they tell the assistant something, they tell me something different, or I catch up on, I caught something that maybe the assistant didn't, or in my exam, I see maybe heavy plaque or DMIN or something like that, that completely changes the risk there. So there's been a couple of times where like, I see that you posted low, I really would like them to schedule it in 3 months. Can you change their schedule date? Can you fix it on the post? So yeah.
Are you finding that they're actually posting before you even come into the room? Oh, I think I might have just lost Dory. All right, well, I think we just lost Dory here. She might join back on, but I guess from that standpoint, certainly staff should not be posting to the ledger prior to the doctor coming into the room. So that might be something we need to kind of clarify and work on. And our system is set up at this point to have the ability for the doctor to come in and change what's been determined by the questionnaire and the information that the assistant has amassed at that point. So we'll need to clarify that. Of course, it sounds like, to make sure that's not taking place, because the doctor can certainly come in and say, no, we got to do this, or no, we got to do that. So
I think it happens once with us and that's it. So it's not very common. I've seen it once when they posted and we had to go back and retake it out.
okay.
Yeah, I don't know if she's talking, because if it is posting, that's a problem. I need to know. But if they're scheduling the appointment before the doctor comes in, maybe that's what she means by posting, because they're already scheduling and it's showing on that treatment plan, like the carries risk low or carries risk high.
At least from yeah.
That's something to look at, because I kind of have the feeling that some dental assistants, it's not across the board, but are also creating things on the treatment plan before the patient is even brought back. So they're doing it as part of their prep instead of as part of like the doctor wait time, because we've had some insurance issues because things get posted early that we've had to fix. So I think probably just something to add to the training list is defining when that occurs.
So you think there's a lack of clarity of when things are getting posted, like the posting is happening way before.
I think, yes, I kind of get the feeling that when it gets actually posted to the ledger is all over the place, and also when it gets added to the treatment plan before posting. I think there's some discrepancies there as well.
Gotcha. We're overcommitting before the final verdict.
I think we have some that are trying to like get ahead, not realizing that it doesn't actually help and actually cause more work on the backside.
Okay, makes sense. Well, good. I'm glad we had this chat. I guess at this point, Sharonda, want to make sure that from a treatment standpoint, are you sitting okay across the board?
Yes, we're pretty much same week for both.
Great, awesome. All right, well, good information, everybody. I appreciate all the feedback. The meeting lasted a little longer than I expected today, and I appreciate all you chiming in and giving your information. I think I'm just admit Dory back in here real quick so she can hear us kind of wrap up. Here she comes.
I just want to say, like, sorry for the ranting at the beginning, but it's really, it's coming from the heart. I mean, it's just emotional. We're really doing everything. We're really treating everybody like our kids. And I don't think anyone is giving what we're giving, anyone. And yes, we don't talk about it much. I think we should. I think that's one thing, like after what happens yesterday and with the 2 great sedation before and after. So I think when we have opportunity, we should maybe talk with the manager and try to get them to get us some reviews. So yes, we don't ask for it, but I think when we do something and we see the glitter in their eyes, we should ask for it, because it's our right. We did the right thing. So that's what I would end with.
Very good, Honest. Agreed. So Dora, I know we lost you there for a second, but we talked briefly about the situation. I think we're going to take the angle. It seems like the staff is posting stuff to the ledger prematurely. And so we're going to plan for some training there to make sure to reel that back in, make sure we're not overcommitting before we're supposed to be doing. Because you're exactly right. The doctor should be able to come back in and at that point, if they need to reset where we're at from a risk standpoint, they definitely should be able to do that. If that means we have to reschedule another visit or add another appointment or whatever that might be. So we're we'll do some training on that to make sure. And again, Lisa, as she said, it's probably not everybody. It might just be some ambitious people trying to be.
I think they're posting right now as I'm doing the exam. That's what they tell me. They were told to post during the exam. So that's what's happening right now. Because I've kind of had little mini conversations with a lot of them of like, okay, how are we going to do this risk thing? I don't want you to post and have it, So that's what most of them have told me when they're planning, when they're like into the post.
And certainly as we've got the new training set up for this and we're going to be implementing it, well, I'll go back in and tweak and make sure that's emphasized and maybe even put it in their protocol test to know when that posting is supposed to take place to give the doctor time. So, okay. Well, very good, everybody. Thanks for your time today. Appreciate you spending an hour together, and we'll send this video to the other doctors so they've got that available to them to watch and see. And thanks, y'all. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you, you too.
All right, you too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.